How's it going? It's the Henry's doing some moves. It's the hobby homies.
Homies, hobbies.
Homies with the hobbies with the special guest today.
Another homie.
Another home well, sorry, this way. Another homie, another I'll get that. I'll get that down.
The hobby.
With the hobby. Yes, he's got his own set of hobbies.
The hobbies.
But I'm Nick and this guy, I don't know where he wandered in from, but he's Henry. Yeah, Henry.
Or Hank.
Or Hank, yeah, he goes by many names. Like me.
Hey, you.
Nick or Nicky for me.
Or old guy.
This guy right here. What's your name?
Oh, I'm Elias.
Oh, Elias. Elias. All right. Well, the reason why we brought you here today and we're in a different setting is because we are going to be talking about comics. I just finished a comic book recently, and I thought it would be really cool to talk to y'all about it, plus some other ones that I'm planning on reading in the future. But my comic of interest today actually has to do with a Marvel character whose name is Loki. Loki, yes. I had prior to this, my only knowledge was like MCU material and like maybe some Thor books that I've read with like Loki kind of coming in and out a little bit, but nothing too crazy. But I had a pretty good little knowledge in my bank about it. Henry, what about yourself?
Roughly about the same. Probably a little bit less, just
Yeah.
because of the, I guess, amount of Thor that I've read versus you.
Well, you know what? Not to cut you off. This is my
It's all
DC. This is my DC room, so this actually
Sorry.
this is which is funny because you guys there's an X-Men poster right there, and there's technically the Beatles one over there, which is really cool. That one's really start
Cover stuff.
It's very cool.
Yeah, but pretty much MCU, and then I've read a lot of Hulk, which interacts with Thor a lot, which in turn brings Loki in. And then of course the Loki show. I've not been caught up, so I can't say I'm the biggest fan.
Same. I only watched the first season.
Yeah, but it's great show. I mean,
It was really good.
I was so disappointed in the way that the MCU has gone that Loki show is probably the best. I would opinionated statement say it's one of the best things that Marvel has released in its downfall.
In the phase that it's in, yeah, I would say that like it's the one of the best things of that phase.
Yeah, so it's really saving it. I think it's bringing Loki to light. I think a lot of people are starting to kind of understand how Loki's a cool character, even though he is a villain.
Yeah.
I think he's misunderstood. And I think people start to see that I don't know, he's a cool character. His powers are very neat and very useful.
Sometimes a little like vague,
Yeah,
you know, but
he's the god of mischief.
the god of mischief.
Vague, and then like he can. I don't know. It's just cool that he's one of the few that go through time and experience that and
True.
help in that way.
Well, speaking of vague, this man over here has vague knowledge of Loki. If I stand to
No,
understand, yes.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Growing up, my one of my neighbors had a cat named Loki.
Okay. Was he a little
That
mischievous fella? Like
real rascal.
Oh, okay.
So I'm thinking all Lokis are the same. That's what I'm thinking. I'm
Okay.
pigeonholing them,
All right.
putting them in a corner. Every Loki, real rascal.
I see what you're doing. So you have no knowledge of Loki, the character.
Not really. I know he's related to somebody, maybe somebody's brother, something like that.
That's true.
He might have maybe a cool weapon, might not. I don't know.
He does. He does. He does.
I'll see. Never mind.
You know what's funny? Loki is actually Loki, even though being in the comics and Marvel and stuff, is a Norse mythological like god. Yeah,
he's a real person.
Yes. Like if you played, I'm
Viking.
No.
Or mythological character.
But he's like around that time of Vikings. Yeah, he's a god. He was there like with his brother, who by the way is Thor. So
the god of friendship.
No, thunder, not friendship. Yep. Nice. That was second.
That was close.
Maybe second.
Yeah.
But okay, so yeah, you really don't know. You don't know Thor or Loki, and their father is Odin. He's got one eye.
Sick.
He's like kind of a.
And he's a nice guy, right?
He's kind of like no. I was just gonna say
understanding father. I'm assuming.
No, he's like. I will say.
He's nice to Thor.
When I'll talk about it here, he actually. There are moments in this book that I'm like, he's pretty nice to Loki, and I'm surprised because Loki is so. Yeah, Loki is so interesting in his history, like with his family. So it's like, why would he be like kind of nice to him in these? I don't know. But anyways, today I got my two friends. Some knowledge over here, zero Loki knowledge over here. Besides the dog.
No.
Have some damn respect.
Would
Oh,
you
the
say
cat. I'm sorry.
no knowledge, low key?
Loki.
Oh, high key, because I just told you. But high key, this book today is Loki, Agent of Asgard, the complete collection. Ooh, it got a nice little focus on there. Ooh. The God of Mischief, yes.
What's it say on the back?
What does it say on the back?
Smarter, sneakier.
It says reintroducing the God of Mischief, stronger, smarter, and sneakier than ever before. And he honestly, like, and looking in this picture, he looks pretty mischievous.
He takes
What a
no.
hunk.
And also, this thing he's holding, Henry, would you say in the times you've seen Loki, has he ever really held a sword? Like, have you? Okay,
See him wear that type of coat.
so yes, I'm gonna let y'all flip through this if you'd like. So yeah, speaking of the sword, that is kind of how our story begins in a weird way. It begins, yes, because Loki is on the search for. Okay, so what you know about Loki, Elias, is all you really need to know right now is Loki is the god of mischief. He's Thor's brother, Odin's his father. Odin at this time, which I had to learn through reading this book, because I'm not gonna lie, while reading this collection, it had the most little editor notes for check out this tie-in that I've ever seen. Ever. I maybe in other books. No, seriously, for more about this. And it was a little frustrating at times, but um
Hey, I'm not going to tell you about this. I'm just going to tell you about it, and you got to go get it. I
hey,
don't want to tell you more about it.
stop reading this book right now. Go to your local comic shop, buy this volume of this book and read this.
Actually, your local comic shop might not have it because it was printed a while ago. So you actually have
That's
to go
true.
online or go to your local Second Charles.
Sometimes Amazon is the way to go for buying those cheap books. Sometimes going to your local comic shop is also the way to go. But anyways, Odin's not alive at this time. He is in like some realm. It's not death. It's just like he's trapped somewhere fighting darkness. Like he's the light fighting darkness. That's what the it's like a chess game among the gods. Literally they're playing chess in this place. But anyways, he's gone. He's wherever. He's gone for right now. Um Loki is looking for this sword. And the sword is a weird item because it's the sword of truth is what it's called. Yeah, it's a really it's really cheesy and really silly name.
Truth.
And this is like current Loki looking for the sword, but the funny thing is future Loki, like very future Loki, is the one that kind of helps build this sword because future Loki pretty much goes back in time to when Odin was like Thor's age.
Oh, what?
Yeah, and Odin doesn't know who Loki is. Odin is his father again. Elias, one eye. Yeah, one eye. He's his father. Okay, good. Well, this is when he's younger. He's like, and Loki comes back, and Loki like makes Odin like take all these different parts of himself, like all these different parts, and like create keys
Oh, what?
that
How does he make keys out of himself?
I have no idea how he ends up making these keys. And that could either be part of me not remembering because I will say this book is like 24 issues total, which is a lot. A lot. I will say a normal book that I would read would probably have anywhere between like 12 to maybe 14 issues for the volume, but like over 20 is a lot.
But it still doesn't seem super crazy compared to like the compendiums that you have and stuff.
Oh, sure.
It's still a doable. Like that's a. It's thick.
It's the way they put it together that seems like you're saying, like it's not so bad. But yeah, so anyways, old Loki makes, you know, Odin make this sword, and then like past Loki, the young one finds the sword and eventually just goes like up to they didn't really establish this much, or maybe you don't remember this that much in the MCU. Like they did establish Loki's mom, but like maybe you don't remember her as much. But in this book, she's important. She's the All Mother, is what they call her, or Lady. It's like Lady Freyja. It's
Okay.
Freyja, and like pretty much Loki has always been mischievous. He's always been villainous. He's always been kind of evil, Elias, and um, he's always gotten punished for those crimes. And prior to this story, there's a big crime that it's really weird, and I can't like spoil it, I guess. But Loki like does something to another version of Loki that like changes him forever. There's this has to do with a lot of Loki's pulling up. Like
Well, and that's what I like about Loki is he goes through the trials and tribulations, somewhat different genre, but Flash, like they go through the trials of like going through time
yeah,
and messing up time and
yes,
having to like fix their mess
yes.
ups. You
And
know,
this one's really interesting with time. And but like I said, there's a lot of Lokis, and before this story, like Loki almost did something, or no, he did do something to another Loki, and it's a big deal. And um, so he's got all these punishments for him. And the All Mother, he has a sword, and the All Mother's like, if you commit, pretty much, if you become our agent, because it's called Agent of Asgard, if you become our agent and do our bidding, do these little jobs, we will strike each of your acts that you've done for every job you've completed. And eventually, once you do that enough, we will, we'll set you free. You won't be like under any scrutiny from us. You'll be
So,
regular citizen.
some indentured servitude.
May yes, you know what? And as messed up as indentured servitude was, this could also lead to things that will upset Loki. But for the most part, he's just fulfilling these quests and things that the All Mother is telling him to do. Because again, Odin's not alive at this time. He's not around. He's somewhere else, and it's really the All Mother that's in charge. Prior to reading this story, I just read a run that's also intertwining at this time, which is where Thor is what's her name? Oh, thank you. Where Thor is Jane. It's Jane Foster as Thor.
yeah,
But that is written in tandem with like this run. They kind of like
that's cool.
Thor doesn't really appear in here, but the events are taking place around the same time, which is it's just very weird. But so yeah, so Loki's going on these quests, and Loki goes eventually like one of the first things he has to do is he fights Thor. And he fights Thor in the Avengers, I should say. But which is so weird because all the Avengers are here, as you can see. They're all present. And Loki sneaks past all of them and stabs Bro.
Bro.
That's not really a spoiler because it kind of happens within the first two issues, but he stabs him with the sword of truth. And this is where you kind of learn what the sword does because you're like, okay, what's it going to do? And it pretty much relinquishes all of the truth that he is like withholding from the world, like all the darkness and such. It's really kind of confusing. It doesn't kill you. Um, this is how Loki describes it. He said, "The sword is Gram, once held by Sigurd, first hero of Asgard, a sword of ancient magic bathed in dragon's blood. Sword of truth, to suffer the blade is to suffer all the truths you deny yourself. It always hurts, sometimes it kills, and sometimes it saves your life." So it's extremely vague, in my opinion, because I will say throughout this book, people will get stabbed a multitude of times with the sword, and it will either leave a wound or just like Thor just gets stabbed. They don't kill Thor within the first two issues. He's still alive, by the way. He gets stabbed, and it's just like, yeah, right. And the truth that he's denying himself is set free, which in this book, the truth that he was denying himself, weirdly enough, gets trapped in this bottle that Loki has. And the truth is, the old Loki. It's like a Loki that is 60, 80 years in the future or something like that. And uh Loki doesn't see like this come out. He actually, just to show y'all, he puts the darkness from Thor in this bottle, puts it in this jar, And then he takes the jar to his mom and the council, and they're like, "Thank you. You've been like, you'll be rewarded. Whatever you did, what you're supposed to do." And then he dips, and then they release the jar, and then Loki comes out. So he has no idea that this Loki was just released, and it's just like a darkness that came from Thor or whatever. And he's a yes, and he's a big part of this. It pretty much goes on from there. Loki is just completing tasks left and right. One is a casino heist, which is pretty interesting. One is they have to fight a dragon, which I think it's a pretty cool scene. Again, you get to really see uh, just like Loki in different environments. This in particular instance in the beginning with the dragon has to do with Sigurd because he was like one of the first Asgardian warriors. He's kind of a badass, and he is one of the first. Um, he's one of the first heroes. He's kind of locked away.
How do you spell it?
Sigurd. Sigurd, first hero of Asgard's legends, and to some the greatest, who shrank not from impossible odds, but they on the battlefield. A new chapter then, once upon a time. He was the sometimes glorious, what they called him, rode along through the old realms to come upon the end of region Hridemarzen. I love those names. Um, yeah. He
Cool.
he's just pretty much a warrior. Like that's all you really need to know. But and the cool thing is the dragon he's fighting is actually a person who was pretty much was consumed with greed and became a dragon
Sounds like a great.
because he's like in this book he's like flowering over this like gold. He loves it so much.
That's sick.
And
I feel like I turned into a dragon person.
it says, and fanfare tended his gold, like and Vare before him. He could not leave it. I even for a moment, and so his body starved for food and water, drank of curse, because it was cursed gold.
FAF.
Yeah, dude, no, definitely. But so yeah, Loki is going through different trials and tribulations. He comes across Mephisto at one point, which is a really cool scene, and I can't like,
That's really cool.
yeah, right. I can't like explain like the context of it because it kind of spoils like when he comes out, but pretty much like he's doing all these acts and doing all these things, and I'm not going to go through all of them.
Doom later down the road too.
Doom does come into play. Doom comes into play in a really weird part, and that's where this book gets a little annoying in a way because it starts you've read 5 issues of this book so far. You've read 5 chapters. Now you get to um you would think you would get to the next chapter, but you get to an event arc called Original Sin, which is something I haven't read. Um, so what they expect you to do is to put the book up, go grab that book, read that book, come back to this book, read the next 6 issues of this book.
Hey, getting into comics is really fun, guys. Like, reading comics is a great time.
And Original Sin, yeah, Original Sin pretty much has to do with some weird. From what I've gathered, is like all the characters in Marvel remember, like, or they get told like one of their darkest secrets they can find out, like at the time. Like for Loki and Thor, it was that they had a sister, and they didn't know they had a sister.
Was she hot? Okay.
To be determined. I can't necessarily spoil who the sister is, I guess, but like
If you watch any of the movies, you would know.
no, she's not in it.
That's
Because this person, okay, so
sister then?
it's a different sister. There's not a sister in the movies. Who's the sister in the movies?
Ragnarok, the sister that comes back from hell, whatever her name is.
Oh, that sister. Yeah, that is a sister. That's right. You got me. I forgot.
Like the
That's why you're here.
villain in the Thor movie.
That's why you're here. And you know it's funny that
I
you.
even like the Thor movies.
You know it's funny you say that.
Ragnarok, hot take, ruined. They fumbled the bag with that movie. Great movie, best Thor movie, but they fumbled it. It was
Yeah.
so bad.
Yeah, I would agree.
They could have done so much more with Thor, and they
Some
could have done so
scathing
much more with
reviews.
Hulk,
wait,
and just tossed him.
but I also
Just
really,
tossed him back.
I also, on a side note, I really liked Ragnarok as well.
Again, it's the best Thor movie, but they were like, "Oh, Planet Hulk, we can make 3 movies out of that and make a really good revenue off of it, and make Hulk a really cool character." Ah, now we don't need to do that. Just make him a side plot character in the third Thor movie that not many people are going to watch because the first two plummeted through the ground.
I like the way you think, Henry. So optimistic, this man.
Get this man in the marketing department.
No, seriously. Also, Hella's right there in the book.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. Like,
She is. Okay, but I totally forgot about her, but she's kind of in her own sect. They thought like one of I don't know enough about her to know if she's the daughter of Odin and the Allmother, but anyways, a part of her what?
Odin's been around.
Odin has been around. Much like the Greek gods and goddesses. Zeus has been around. You should check that man's history. He's got some kids he's got to look for.
He's been on the loose.
He really has. That's good. That's good. Put it on a shirt. But all of Original Sin pretty much in this book is like, so they both find out they have a sister, then they confront mom, and mom's like, yeah, well, we did have a sister, but then she got murdered, and like she was a baby. It's a pretty crazy scene. I was reading it and I was like, yo, this is pretty I was like, yo, this is pretty dark.
Pour something out.
But yeah, like they have it's the baby. Like they have the
baby.
it's they're holding the baby up. And also the people they're fighting against are angels of heaven. And heaven is spelled Heven because heaven is a realm. And like if you don't know about this probably Elias, but there's like 10 realms in Thor. There's always been like 10 realms. And
I think that's in Norse mythology too.
yeah, you're probably right. And there's 10 realms, and in this one there was an 11th realm, but they sealed it off. The 11th realm was heaven, and they fought with the people of heaven. And they eventually found a way to seal off heaven so nobody could get in there, and you could see like they're actual like angels, like they're
They look like hawk people.
yeah, they kind of do look like hawk people. As fans of DC, we kind of know our
Don't know if that's PC term.
well,
I would-
Thanagarian, I would say.
I wouldn't say hawk people, I'll tell you that right
Okay, all right, whatever. Um, and
Hawkman and Hawkwoman.
oh yeah, so look,
That's even worse.
just to show you all this scene, this is what I was talking about. This is the baby scene. They have the baby and they're holding it up, and they kill the baby,
Man,
and it's pretty like, it's pretty like, yeah, no, they straight up like slash the throat of the baby.
what the
And so the mom's like, hey, cut the ish, like
yeah.
well, no, the mom's like, Thor, Loki, they're not around, and they're not alive, so don't even try to hunt for them. And there's like 6 issues of Original Sin in there. Thank you. And all 6 of those are about them trying to hunt down their sister. And I will give you the spoiler in a way where they do end up finding out the truth of if there was a sister and if she's still alive and who she could end up being with. But like that whole thing is kind of crazy cool, I guess, because the art changes yeah, crazy cool, Henry. The art changes a lot. It's really pretty, but I do hate sometimes when artists just change, especially in the middle of issues like art. But yep, that whole Original Sin event wraps up in the middle of this book, and then you keep pretty much going on.
Yeah, we been up to that, and that was really cool.
Oh yeah, Henry also.
I'm a big Doom fan.
Thank you. Yeah, big Doom guy. I mean, that's just a tough image of Doom.
Not too excited though. At Marvel for their decision on who's playing Doom.
Yeah,
Just like to put that out there.
Who's playing Doom?
Iron Man.
Robert Downey Jr.
So actually just playing Doom and Iron Man?
Yep.
Iron Man's dead.
Iron Man's dead?
Quote unquote.
R.I.P.
You didn't even know Iron Man was dead. See, that's
We're out for a me.
yeah.
That got rules too. I like
Big spoiler alert. It's been out for like 5 years. Oh,
Nobody told me?
Nobody told you, bro. It's okay.
God,
There's no way
he's
you
been
missed
dead
that.
for
Um,
5
There's no way you
years.
missed that out there.
That's crazy.
There's absolutely no way you missed any.
anyways, um, the whole Doom thing has to just do with there's okay. Do you know who Red Skull is, Henry?
Yeah.
Okay, Red Skull. Okay, Red Skull and others have like a have like a psychic hold on the United States, and they're like causing like people to like go against each other, probably be the opposite of themselves. Which this arc is interesting because it gives Loki the chance to be a hero, and Thor is just Thor at this point had just lost his hammer because Jane Foster ends up getting the hammer around this time. So he loses the hammer and he is like down in the dumps. He's getting drunk.
He's
I like
mad drunk.
he is. He's very angry, kind of evilish drunk. He's not that. They cut to a part. He goes to Vegas. He does fuck up Vegas a little bit. Like he destroys parts of Vegas. Like I'll have to find the part where they cut to it, but
That out.
yeah, my bad, my bad.
What the heck?
But it gives Loki a chance to be a hero, which is interesting. And I will say he has an interaction with Mjolnir, which
I feel like his
Dope
thing
name.
though.
which is the name of the hammer that Thor uses, which is really cool.
But how did Jane Foster steal it? I thought nobody else can pick up that hammer.
So that's a really cool thing. Jane Foster at this time had cancer and was gonna die. That's a really cool thing, right? She had cancer.
That's
Sorry, not to offend anyone.
Cool.
She overcomes it because at this time when he loses the hammer, it's on the moon. She gets transported to the moon and picks it up, and
Just like
it
no gravity on it.
she was well. They established this. They established this a long time ago in Marvel that there's a blue spot on the moon. There's a blue spot on the moon that has oxygen and breathable air.
But no gravity still.
No, yeah, there's gravity. There's gravity there.
There's a little bit of gravity.
It's again, this is a comic. It's a comic book.
Marvel
It's a
discovered
comic. Anyways, she picks up the hammer. Thor's down in the dumps. He goes to Vegas, and it even says Thor hits Vegas literally because like he goes in and starts wrecking shop. And again, it gives Loki a really cool chance to interact with Thor's hammer, and I'm not gonna like spoil anything, but like some really cool moments happen. And um I would just say if you're a fan of like Thor and Loki in general, this battle is just really cool. And they yeah, it's and these are the people that are like having the psychic hold too. It's Red Skull, Scarlet Witch, and Doctor Doom.
That's a trio.
That's a mean team, right?
It is.
Be in the same vicinity as any of it. Now Doom again. I'd have a drink with Doom any day.
Any day of the week.
Yeah.
Which, and I'd probably say something. Things all hell would break loose.
Yeah.
She could change dimensions. She could open up the ground.
Thanks.
I don't need any of that. And then Red Skull, I just don't want to look at him. No offense to Red Skull.
He's a Nazi, so I wouldn't want to look at him either.
He's a knock.
He's a Nazi, yeah.
Not a red
Skull face, yeah.
I feel like you gotta pick one. You know, you're either
No, he's very eclectic, that man.
repulsive to look at or a Nazi. You know, you can't be.
He said both.
He definitely decided both. And he's rocking it for centuries.
Hey, trendsetter.
But at the end of this arc, obviously, okay. At the end of this arc, obviously Thor can't stay evil and Loki can't stay good. So it switches back, and throughout this whole book and story, Loki's battling inner demons. So like that's a huge moment for him when he loses that ability. He kind of really believed in himself to think like I could finally change and be a hero. Like, you know, I want to be viewed that way. This whole book is about him wanting to change the norm of Loki, like the god of mischief, the god of lies. That comes up a lot, the god of lies. And he kind of like is just trying to change. That's why he's an agent of Asgard because he's trying to just get out of the funk, you know, he's in with them. And but so he's trying to change the arc, you know, again it changes them back. But this is about the time you find out Loki finds out old Loki has been working under the shadows the whole time because, like a minor spoiler, he I know, skip ahead to I don't know, 2 minutes or 3 minutes. I don't know. I'll explain it in like a minute. Minor spoiler, he old Loki lived like in the future, obviously. He came back from the future and he has all the knowledge of the future. And he goes up to the All Mother and he straight up says, like, hey, I know the future. I know Asgardia, which is their land, is like perfect. Everyone lives in perfect unity here. The 10 realms are operating in perfect unity. I can get us to that perfect future. Like, but you have to trust me.
Like every guy from the future,
Uh-huh. And also like any good person would say, you have to trust me. And like
or any bad person.
put all of your
A lot of people say
put all your eggs in my basket. And so pretty much they do. And they believe
even
in
my
him,
eggs.
and in by doing so,
What am I gonna eat for breakfast?
the side of that is that he gets to control Midgard, and Midgard is what they call Earth. So Loki gets control over Earth, which in his future is a desolate wasteland. He's made his own place. He's destroyed Earth. Asgardia is perfect, but Earth is in like rubble.
Shambles, yeah.
And Loki is like present Loki is like, what the heck? Like, why would, what the heck? I would use other explanatives, but we're going with that one. And
Name of
he's
it.
saying that to his
What?
mom. He's saying that to mom. He's like, Mom, what's going on? Why would you trust him? Like, look what they're going to do to this land. Like, and she's like, well, honestly, if our people are going to be safe, why shouldn't we trust him? Like,
Yeah.
it
All about your people.
yeah, and so that's the duality of like I want to be good and what they're doing seems, it's funny that they in their eyes view themselves as these good people, but they're willing to doom Earth in order to keep their land safe.
So
Like
is that kind of how this wraps up? It's just like kind of shows you how in the actions that Loki took throughout the book, it ends up with Asgard being perfect 11 realms for for, and then like I guess what is the ending to this? Well,
I'm not going to spoil that, but the way this part ends in particular, it's like honestly Loki's trying to find out, like present Loki's trying to find out, well, future Loki came evil. Like because present Loki's like, no, dude, we're on the right track. We're being good. We're doing all the right things. Why are you so set that we're gonna be this bad evil thing? Like, and future Loki pretty much says, this is what happens. I'll tell you what happens. Um, I fulfill all the deeds. I do everything they tell me to do, and I'm freed. And I'm like no longer, they no longer view me as a prisoner. Like like I'm not going to go to jail for any of my crimes or anything like that. I can walk free among my people. But still, for a long time afterwards, they keep calling him like, they're like, Loki's telling Thor something, and Thor laughs. And he's like, "I'm surprised you're telling me the truth right now. You're still the god of liars to me." Or like, people still view him that way, and he's pissed because it's like, I did everything they wanted me to do for them, and even though I'm free and I walk among them, they still think of me as like this god of lies, this god of mischief, like I'm the dirt beneath their feet. Like he believes that it doesn't matter if he did all his good deeds, like they'll never truly accept him. And then he is just like, screw everyone, like I'm just gonna betray. And
Some days
that's
it feels like that,
and that is a spoiler too. I mean, that's one of his big turning points, but
Doctor Doom's feeling to the world as well. It's like you do you do so much good and no one you do so much good that you think is good and no one appreciates it, no one likes it, no one cares about it, no one thinks that your view is right. So you just end up being evil.
yeah, I almost viewed it. You mentioned indentured servitude earlier. Like it almost is that way too, where it's like even afterwards, like after you're done, people still view you as
There's still
like,
the perception.
yeah,
Yeah,
people still view you in that messed up way. Like,
sure.
and it's interesting that like I sometimes I don't believe like turns like oh, I don't believe this is why he went evil, or like this wasn't believable enough, or I could kind of see that where like even if he did all these things, they still looked at him as like this evil person, and like he was the god of this. How could he change, you know? And so he did that. And no, part of the ending of this book has to do with Loki having to pretty much, they even mention ego death, like having to get rid of his like that part of himself. Like he has to lose that side of himself in order to move on and be like, you know, and in order to control his own destiny, I guess, because they believe that like, you know, the future's not set in stone, and I like that too. I mean, I believe that you can change either way. And it also, the ending of this book kind of has to do with like there's another tie-in and it's another event, and I still want to read it, but it's called it's like the battle of the realms or something like that. Hold on, it's at the end of this one. Oh, the War of the Realms, the War of the Realms, and it's like it has Earth involved and it has all the realms involved. It's obviously like a Thor event. I haven't read it. I need to check it out. But you know, it ends with Loki, present Loki having to confront future Loki, and they're just face to face, and that's pretty much the big bad in this whole thing is future Loki. And like, you know, I'm not going to spoil how it ends, and obviously you'll have to read the War of the Realms to see how that event goes to get this context. But I will say for Loki, it was really cool. There were moments I felt like it reminded me of the show watching it and all the different Lokis, and even like there's a kid Loki in here, and that reminded me of Kid Loki, and the old Loki's very, very reminiscent of like the classic looking one in the show. So there's those moments, and I like how he is kind of like anti-hero esque, you know, kind of plays both sides, but also doesn't want to be defined in his one role, you know.
Well,
So
overall, it seems like you like the book. Would you say that it's a good book for people who a have not read like Elias? If he was like
no,
you'd have to know other things within
I
that
have to get
realm
some
of
background
knowledge.
information.
I think you would have to know some stuff. Like me being how much I know, reading it, I even felt like you know, I'm even saying right now, like I needed to read this while I was reading it. I needed to read that while I was reading it. Like,
It's
um,
not a book for
no,
beginners.
it's not an opening book for that, I would say. And also, if you read any kind of Thor book or Thor-esque, the way they use their language, the way they talk, like the Norse talk, and like that's something you also have to get used to, or it's like, nay, the horse is here. Yeah, yeah. So that's another thing. Like if you don't like that, you're not gonna like this.
It's a good introduction to Loki, or is it just a true side story? Does it go over Loki's life, understanding of like
Uh
this, or is it again? It sounds like
no.
it's more of just a side plot, kind of a cool side quest.
It's like it feels like a sequel to something that I didn't read before, because there's something that happens before that's something big for Loki, and it defines him this whole book. He keeps calling back to it, and eventually he tells you what it is towards the end of the book. And it already happened, and I just didn't read it. But um, no, it feels like a sequel in his life, but it feels like a version of him that just wants to be free of like everyone's perspective of him in a way, you know, that's where the truth sword comes in, where it's just like, you know, he's getting the truth out of it. The truth is a big theme in this too, because his best friend in the story is a new character that I never met. Her name is Verity, Verity, and her ability, because of something that happened when she was a kid, her ability gives her the chance to look at people and tell if they're lying or not.
That's cool.
Anytime she's talking to someone, she can tell if they're lying. And so being around Loki's fun because Loki does nothing but lie, but he that forces him to always be truthful to her.
Yeah.
Like he's always being truthful to her. And you know, she helps a lot with him overcoming a lot of the problems he's having inward, and just like a lot of who he wants to lose and who he wants to be. And you know, I think it's got a satisfying enough ish conclusion, but I will say I like what these writers are doing with all the other books in terms of like, if you want to read the grand scheme of this whole story, I think it's worth it.
Is it worth the length?
For 25 issues, I was definitely just trying to finish this book to get to my next one
Cool.
at a certain point. Not in a negative way, because it's still a fun book. It's still very Loki. It's like,
If
and
you like
it's
Loki,
if you like Loki in this world, you're gonna love this stuff. Like it's a huge collection.
you're out of time.
0 out of 10. No, I wouldn't give it a 0 out of 10.
No, is it like 0 through 10?
0 through 10.
0 out of 10?
Give it a 0. I'm gonna burn it after this video.
He talked about it for 40 minutes. He was like, yeah, and I'll give it a 0 out of 10.
Honestly, you could talk for 40 minutes about something that's a 0 out of 10. I could easily. I could go in longer.
Probably easier.
Yeah, honestly. But no, out of 10, I'm really teetering between like a 6 and a 7. I'd probably give it a 7. I would say I would recommend it. Probably an 8 for
We'll flash that up on the screen right
and boom. I'd give it an 8 for fans of Thor and probably fans that were following along throughout before this and catching in and then after. It's probably very like I don't know. It probably connects a lot of good things and it does something for Loki that changes his character that you're like I like where it's going after this. Like I like the future for him. But just to cap it all off really quickly, yeah, this is my future so far. I've still been reading Batman Future. I've still been reading Batman Zdarsky's run. Also, I'm a big DC fan. Here, let me get Elias out of the way. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm sorry. Zdarsky deserves a clap. Zdarsky on a Batman topic deserves a clap.
I agree. For volume 1, this is volume 3.
So volume 2.
Where he's going with volume 2 it was very interesting. It's got a Batman that's it's got a Batman that's he wears purple, red, and yellow, and his name is Zur-En-Arr. But it was really I don't really like it. It's really stupid. And funny enough, it's a version of Batman that he Zur-En-Arr.
It's written by Zdarsky.
If you want to read the back,
sounds like he's
no. Zur-En-Arr was something that was created in like the 90s.
My name is Zur-En-Arr.
It was something that was made in the 90s.
That's not
Yeah, it says the book is volume 3, Joker year 1. Zur-En-Arr. That's what I'm saying.
That's what he said 3 times.
Well, it sounded like he was saying Zur.
I'm gonna summon him. It was something that was created in like the 70s. Actually, it was created in like the 50s. If I'm going way back, it was a really, really, really old comic that Grant Morrison brought back for R.I.P. Batman. And I know the slipcover flipping it off, but I'm currently reading that. It's okay. I do love Zdarsky. I will say I love Zdarsky. I love his writing. I love all this stuff. Jorge Jimenez is the artist on this run. I really like the art.
Great.
This is Batman side. This is Zur-En-Arr. So this is what Zur-En-Arr looks like.
What a dude. Cool.
I maybe we'll talk about that one in a future video. Or maybe not. I don't know. If there's something that you see, that I'm about to pull up really quickly that you want to see instead of that, drop a comment. If not, I'm gonna pick which one I want. So, but yeah, Batman. This one's Batman and Robin. This is Joshua Williamson because he's pretty much archetyping all of new DC. Shazam to Hell and Back. That's an old run. World's Finest. Ooh, World's Finest.
If you have any recommendations, put them in the comments. We'll read
Recommendations?
We'll talk about it.
Look how many I'm pulling up. Obviously,
or he might even own it. I might, but
obviously I got money to spend. Convergence, which is something that like I was about to start reading and then realized I needed to read all of Justice League to understand. So I'm sure I'll get to that one soon. What?
You're getting there.
Another World's Finest run, because I really like that run. It kind of brings back classic 90s animated Batman, Superman, or just classic stories. I love all that stuff. That's written by Mark Waid too, guy who did Kingdom Come.
By the way, this pile of books has just been here. He didn't bring this pile just for this video.
Yep. These are my books that I'm going to get into next. Green Arrow, also by Joshua Williamson, because like I said, he's doing a lot of DC now. Like he's over a lot of the books. So, and even on this cover, it has Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Hawkgirl, Aquaman, and everyone's favorite Amanda Waller.
2 of these books are Marvel.
I obviously like Marvel more. This is an event from DC that looked really interesting called Night Terrors. It introduces a brand new villain. It has to do with like sleep, I think. It kind of reminded me, weirdly enough, of like what I would think Nightmare on Elm Street would be, like Freddy
Yeah.
Krueger and stuff.
I like Scarecrow, so I feel like it's semi along the same lines of just like using your fear against you.
1,000%. This one is Avengers versus X-Men. This is a run by I think it's Jason Aaron. I've been reading a lot of Jason Aaron. It also has Michael Bendis, Ed Brubaker, Jason Hickman, Matt Fraction. Holy moly, it's got a lot of great it's got a lot of great writers on here. It's a fun event, I've been told, so I want to check it out. And my last one, which is kind of like been on the back burner a little bit, is Green Lantern, but it's Grant Morrison's Green Lantern. And Grant Morrison is to put into quick and synopsis for Elias, a very like philosophical and like deep like almost like a trip, like a mind trip to read about. Like if you were reading something on acid, like is what his writing can be like. And this run is Green Lantern, which has to do with space, so he does a lot of like weird looking aliens and yeah, a little egotistical. I like some of Morrison's runs. I don't like some of his other runs. Like I have his JLA's up there. That's a really good run. But like, yeah, yeah. So these are all the books. If there's something that you saw or something you'd want to recommend, please say something so I can look at it.
And constructive criticism is always welcome. Anything you see in the video you like, anything you don't like, let us know.
This is my first time deconstructing a comic, and I've watched so many from other people, especially Comic Pop, who I love, love, love. They're so cool. But yeah, I mean, try my best. I'll try to, do it a little bit better and faster next time. But yeah, I appreciate you boys for being here, Henry. Thank you for being here. You kind of live here, but also appreciate you being here. The guest star person that
Star.
the star he like.
Star of the show.
Like,
No, I like guest star person. That's my favorite. Was here and I'm sure, did you learn at least some things
I
about?
learned so much.
Okay, yeah, there's a lot that we had to unpack, and I'm sure it was not easy for someone that doesn't know anything about Loki.
Really? That's
About Loki. About Loki. All right, well, I'm Nick.
Oh, and I'm Elias.
He's Elias. He will be a part of this ending for us, and we're the hobby homies. So the hobby homies. So thank you for checking in, and we'll catch you next time.
Subscribe.
Like and do all those good things. Do all the goodness.
What?